Hello there, it's Ani. Are you ready for a Christmas story about Curious George? Today we're going to read Merry Christmas, Curious George. If you have a copy, go get it so you can follow along with us. Merry Christmas, Curious George.
Merry Christmas, Curious George.
Written by Kathy Hapka. Illustrated in the style of H.A. Rey by Mary O'Keefe Young. This is George. He lived with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. He was a good little monkey and always very curious.
This is George. He lived with his friend, the man with a yellow hat. He was a good little monkey and always very curious.
Yes. Today, George was visiting a Christmas tree farm.
Today, George was visiting a curious Christmas tree.
You can help me pick out the perfect tree for our home.
You can help me pick out the perfect trees for our home.
His friend told him.
Keep
close to me while we look.
Keep close to me while we look.
George promised to be good, but
George promised to be good.
Little monkeys sometimes forget.
But little monkeys sometimes forget.
The Christmas tree farm had
The Christmas tree farm has more trees than George has even seen.
More trees than George had ever seen. He found a very nice one right away.
He found a very nice one right away.
But then another caught his eye.
But then another caught his eye.
And then one more. And then another.
And then one more. And then another.
George was curious. How many Christmas trees could there be?
George was curious. How many Christmas trees could there be?
George could not resist climbing up the tallest tree to get a better view.
George could resist climbing up the tallest tree to get a better view. He looked for the man with the yellow hat.
He looked for the man with the yellow hat, but his friend was nowhere in sight. Two men tromped into the clearing.
This man jumps into clearing.
There's our tree, one man told the other. The men cut down the tree and loaded it onto a truck. Along with George. George held on tightly.
George held on tightly.
He saw the man with the yellow hat as the truck.
He saw the man with the yellow hat as the truck drove away.
The truck drove away, but the truck was going too fast.
But the truck is going
George
too fast.
could not jump off.
George could not jump off.
He was scared, but still a little curious. Soon the truck stopped in front of a hospital.
Soon the truck stopped in front of the hospital.
George peeked out of the branches
as
the men carried his tree inside. The hospital was a busy place. George jumped out of the tree. There was lots here to see.
There was lots to see and to hear look at some.
And do. He looked at some interesting pictures. He found a jacket and tried it on.
He found a jacket and tried
He
it
played on a trampoline.
He played on the
He
trampoline.
even went for a ride on a speedy little cart.
He
What fun!
even went to a ride to a speedy little car. What fun!
Then George spotted something very interesting. His tree. George knew that Christmas trees were supposed to have tinsel and twinkling lights.
Then the George spotted something very interesting in his trees. George knew that Christmas trees were supposed to have stars with twinkling lights in tiny ornament, but his tree was empty.
And shiny ornaments. But this tree was empty.
George thought and thought, and then he had an idea.
George thought and thought, and then he had an idea. Do you see what George's idea was? He decorated the Christmas tree with all the things he found around the hospital. Next, George noticed
a pile of gifts in corners of the rooms. The gifts looked pretty, but George was curious. Could he make them look pretty?
noticed a pile of gifts in the corner of the room. The gifts looked pretty, but George was curious. Could he make them look even prettier? This red bow would look much better on the green box.
This red bow could but the bed
and the name tags might look nicer on different
the green box as a name, and the name tags might look
packages
nice
too.
On different packages.
A nurse arrived, and what did she see? A monkey!
And what is she sees monkeys.
And he's making a big mess.
A group of children.
A group of children crowded around the nurse.
A group of children crowded around the nurse. They were a project at the hospital, even though it was among Christmas. The children were not smiling or look happy. Come along, the nurse says, picking George up. I better get you out of here before you can run any ears.
They were all patients at the hospital. Even though it was almost Christmas, the children were not smiling or looking happy. Come along, the nurse said, picking George up. I'd better get you out of here before you can ruin anything else. A girl with a cast stared at George's tree. Suddenly, she giggled. Look, she said. It's my X-ray. A boy laughed. And there's the balloon from my room. All the children started chattering and laughing as they looked at George's funny.
Look, it's my X-ray. The boy laughed. Is there the balloon from my room or the children's desk? Check the rings and loading as it looks as just funny
decorations.
And
Can't he stay for the party?
Can't he stay for the party?
Boy asked the nurse. We don't
A boy asked a nurse.
mind about the gifts. It'll be fun.
We don't mean about the gifts.
Fun to sort them out.
Please
let him stay.
Please.
The other
Yes, the other children him in the van.
Other children chimed in. When he saw how happy
the children looked,